Yo, yo, what's good, man? Welcome to the stream. We're back live at it again. Coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. Today it's a high of 70. So we living nice out here, man. All right. So we're going to get into it. This is New Year's Eve stream. So obviously the last stream of the year. And what we're going to do, we're just going to pretty much get into it right away here. I'm going to react to a few videos. Yesterday I was talking about ETFs, but I kept calling them EFTs. So we're going to react to a video about ETFs and specifically about the one that I'm investing in. So we'll be looking at a video about finances again from Chris Sane. And then got a couple other videos queued up. One about the Free Luigi rally. I don't know if you guys know about that with the United Healthcare CEO that was murdered. And then we'll probably check out another video just about Spotify. But that's pretty much what's going on today. I'm just going to be live streaming. I don't really have any plans for the New Year's, so won't be going out or anything like that. But let me know if you guys are doing anything, and hopefully you got everything accomplished that you wanted to accomplish this year. So, wishing you guys a happy New Year, and yeah, let's get into it. I should still stream tomorrow, just a side note, but yeah, tomorrow I should probably stream again. I don't plan on like going in or going hard tonight, so I should stream tomorrow so as well, just in case you guys wanted to know. But yeah, let's get into these reactions, man. So again, yeah, we were watching a video from Chris Sane yesterday, and I kept talking about how I pretty much I make long-term investments. I don't really do short-term investments or trade stock options yet, but I want to. But anyway, I pretty much, most of my stuff is long-term, and what I've been doing recently is investing in, it's the ticker symbol is SCHD, and it's an ETF. And that's what I was talking about as far as getting dividends. Because if you, they pay out dividends, I think I want to say quarterly. Chris is going to explain it better, but basically they pay out dividends quarterly, I want to say. And, depending on the money you have in there, you can get quite a large dividend every month or every time they pay it out. And the way you can build your account up is basically by, investing in that ETF, and then all the dividends that you get, just reinvest it back into the ETF. So it keeps building. And you also want to make sure that you're investing consistently, right? So you don't want to just buy a bunch of this stock. It's better to invest over time and just keep getting compound interest by investing like either weekly, monthly, or every day. I invest daily. So I just picked how much I can afford, a month or a week, and I just break it up into 5 days because the market's open Monday through Friday. So I invest a little bit every single day into my ETF, and all the dividends just go back into it. And basically over time, with that compound interest, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's the idea. And if you look at the SCHD ETF, if you look at over time, the how it's moved, it's only been moving up. So it's been, gaining interest, and it's doing it better than SPY or the S&P 500. So it's a pretty cool ETF. I learned about it from Chris Sane. We're gonna watch this video right now, and he can explain it a little bit better here.
What's up, YouTube? Listen, family, in today's video I want to share with you my journey of investing $50 every day for the last 252 days. That means every day the stock market was open, I invested $50, and guess what? In today's video, I want to share those results. But before we dive into it, please do me a favor. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Help this video get at least 1,000 likes. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. Okay, guys, as I alluded to, the stock market is open 252 trading days a year. Okay, you know we normally have 365 days in your typical year. Okay, so you minus the holidays, and guess what we get? We get 252 days to get busy in the stock market. Okay, and so one thing I like to do, lateral to trading options and to making the money that we make on a daily basis, whether we're trying to make $100 a day or $1,000 a day, I like to redeploy that money back into my dividend plays. Okay, and so in today's video, we're going to break that down. Okay, and let's go ahead and look at a couple things really quickly, guys. I wanted to pull up the calculator. $50 a day, okay, times 252, that's how many days that's in the stock market that are actually open. Okay, that's out of the 365 days. That gives us $12,600. Okay, on a monthly basis, if you did $50 a day, assuming it's around 30 days in a month, that means you're allocating at least $1,500.
$1,500 a month
every single month towards this one particular stock. Okay, now I do this.
See, I can't basically, I just took his advice here and I just, made it affordable for myself, because I can't do right now $50 a day. So, you pick how much you can do, whether it be $1, $5, $10, whatever, just do that every day.
Across several different stocks, just because I believe you should always be invested in the market. You should always be in the market, and I'm going to show you why today. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Okay, guys, check this out. Ticker symbol SCHD, for example. This is the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. Let me know down in the comments below if you own this, because if you don't, you should. Okay, now check this out. Let's go ahead and unpack this. My current position states that I have 407 shares, 0.407609. Okay, those numbers that follow are just dividends being reinvested, dividends buying fractional shares, because I have what's called DRIP. Okay, dividend reinvestment. That means when I get paid a dividend, instead of spending the money, instead of withdrawing it out the market, I go and buy however the amount that I can afford of that particular stock to put it back into it to help grow it a little more. That's where these numbers come from. Okay, so check this out. My average cost is $71.65.
That's what I've been doing.
Now look to the
That's what I've been doing over this year, is just investing in this, like I was saying, every day. But you can look right here. You can even look at his total returns. Like on this day, this was last year. So this is a new video, but I think it's just early, like 2024, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, you can look at his returns on the day were $57. And his total returns are $5,000, and that's a 17% return. So, that's a really good return, actually, and it should only get better. But I mean, if you just think about it, like if you're not getting that kind of return, even with like a high yield savings account, you might get 4 or 5% return on your money. But he, on this play alone, already has a 17% return, almost 18%.
Total return. All right, I am up 17%, over 17.5%, guys. That is phenomenal. This is what I talk about when I stress the importance of buying low, buying quality, and consistently investing every single day, or every single week, or at least every single month. Okay, I often say you can't get a 17% return in a bank, in a CD, or in a money market account. Those are all good vehicles to have, but nothing beats the stock market, as it is the greatest vehicle for wealth creation we have, okay? And so this is why we do this, okay? But check this out, guys. I want to show you guys how and what this actually looks like. Okay, check this out, guys. As you can see, every single day, September 17th, 16th, 13th, 12th, 11, 10, 9, 6, 5, 4, and this just goes back over the course of 252 days, okay? And look at this. It's $50 here, $50 there, $50 there, $50 there. And so you have to be committed. This is why I talk about the importance of get focused if you're in this game, because what we don't want to do is forfeit investing our $50 a day because, say for instance, we're consistently going to concerts, we're taking trips, we're buying bags, we're buying shoes, we're buying stuff that we don't need, because guess what? We already got enough of that. We already have enough stuff. And so we have to refocus ourselves and make sure we're buying assets. We have to make sure we're buying things that's going to allow us to live better later, as well as speed up the process of getting off the corporate plantation.
Some game, putting you on game. I know that my circle or my age group, they probably feel like it's probably too late. If they haven't been investing, they probably feel like it's too late. But I don't look at it that way. You know what I mean? Even if you're like 40, you know what I mean? Even if you're older than that, you can start. But just say you're 40 and you invest in this ETF for the next, the retirement age is 65. So that's still 25 years that you can invest, you know what I mean? So you really have a lot of time if that's when you want to try and retire, you know what I mean? Or you can try and, put more into it, and then try to retire early. But basically, this is one way of building kind of like a retirement fund, because you'll be getting that dividend. And even though you're doing the drip right now, if you do that for 20 years, you just keep reinvesting the dividends back into it. By the time, 20 years goes by or whatever, your dividend will hopefully be, enough for you to live on. That's the goal, is to be able to live on the dividend that you get after you've invested over the years. And another thing to think about too is, opening an account for your kids, right? So if you have a kid and, let's say they're 10 years old, you open an account for them right now and, invest in it for them until they're old enough to get a job, and just teach them, hey, to always take a little bit of your money from your paychecks and reinvest it into this ETF, right? So eventually that kid, when they get older, so let's say when they turn 40 and they have 30 years of investing in that ETF, they may not have to work, depending on how they want to live and, their means of living. Like if you could survive off of $2,000 a month, because you don't have any other bills or anything like that, then that's feasible. It's totally doable. But basically, I think that it's just important to get started now, instead of just keep putting it off. So this is one thing that I'm pretty confident in, and I don't mind investing in something like this, because really it's like investing your money in the S&P 500, which if you have like a 401k, that's probably where your money's at right now, and you don't even know it. Some people don't know it, but a lot of times your 401k is just sitting there inside it's in the stock market, right? So it goes up and it goes down with the stock market. Like right now, the stock market just went down. So I know if you check your retirement account, it probably went down. But anyway, just stuff to think about. But I think this is the first video I watched from this guy, and I got a lot from it, and I definitely have started implementing this, strategy of just investing into this ETF every day the stock market's open.
Okay, and so I just wanted to share that with you guys in terms of what it looks like on a consistent basis, investing, starting with $5,000, okay? We started with $5,000. And check this out. Look at these plays, okay, guys? Every time that I do this, which if you rock with the money team or if you have been a part of this channel and been with me since 2020, we do this on a pretty consistent basis. So please consider, again, tapping in and joining and getting part of the community so that you can start to have a two-pronged approach. I want you to be investors first, but
see what he's doing here.
Lateral to investing, you must learn how to trade. You must learn how to read a chart, because
this is him doing
moves you can make with the velocity and the
options trade. So this was a put, and we'll eventually talk about options because I do want to learn how to do them. So we'll learn together. And but if you look at this option right here, he made $9,000, and that's, I don't know if that was in one day. It just says today's return was 9,000. So he was able to do that by doing an options trade.
In which we can do it by learning to properly trade, by learning to be surgical and be technical in our pursuit of making money on a consistent basis, allows us to supercharge our long-term investments, okay? And so that's what today is all about. Investing $50 a day, every single day without fail. I don't get distracted. I don't deviate from the plan. I don't panic. I don't freak out during a market crash. I stay consistent. I set it, and I make sure that I show up no matter where the price is at. And this is the beautiful thing. This is called dollar cost averaging, guys, which means no matter what the price is, you buy. Sometimes you're going to buy it when it's high. Sometimes you're going to buy it when it's the middle. Sometimes you're going to buy it when it's low. But when you do it consistently and you accumulate all of these shares, $50 a day on the low end, $50 a day as it rises, you then get the median average of it all. And over time, you're getting more money into it, and you're getting this 17% return on your money. And it's only going to go higher over the next years when I show you again, when we do it 2 years and 3 years and 4 years, and you'll just kind of see just that approach alone has allowed me to have more freedom, have more financial stability, have more financial certainty. How many of you guys would love to see yourself bringing in $2,000 a month in dividends? Having a play that is able to help pay or cover some of the bills or just give you a sense of security. That's what you can do when you take this serious and you do it for the long haul and you do it consistently without fail, okay? So listen, guys, today I just wanted to share with you the results of what it looks like to consistently invest $50 a day over the course of 252 days in a year when you just do it right, okay? And that's just not even me showing you guys that when you do this consistently, so sometimes, for example, instead of SCHD, the money might go to VTI, or instead of VTI, the money might go to NVIDIA. So we're always building our wealth out, and we always have these assets working on our behalf. You always want to put your army of dollar bills to work, because guess what? Your money and your assets don't need a day off. They don't have a sick day. They don't have a mental health day. They don't need a vacation. You get the money and you put it in a vehicle.
Put your money to work
twice as harder and
put your money to work, man.
And that's how you set yourself free. That's how you retire earlier. That's how you retire younger. This is how you reach financial freedom. This is how you reach financial independence. So listen, guys, I just wanted to share that with you today. Hopefully this was both inspiring as well as motivating, showing.
I think it was, for sure. But yeah, man, I definitely would do some more research on this if you guys don't know about it, or if you're interested in getting started. I think that this is a good place to start. He did mention another ETF, VTI, I think he mentioned. And the reason I wanted to kind of bring that back up is because it is important to, obviously diversify your funds. So in your portfolio, it's good to have a diverse portfolio. But if you're investing in something like a SCHD, or if you're investing in SPY or the S&P 500, that's already giving you some diversity, right? Because like the S&P 500 has 500 different stocks. And I think SCHD, I want to say has like 100. I could be definitely be wrong, but basically it's a bunch of different stocks, right? So it's already kind of diversified. So whenever you're investing into these ETFs, you're actually investing in a bunch of different companies. Um, and at CHD, they have people that like they pick certain stocks because they have to meet certain criteria. But again, like I said, if you guys are interested in that, I definitely would just do a little bit more research on it. But I'm taking this strategy right now where I'm just investing as much as I can afford every day the stock market's open. And it's been going good so far. So, I'll definitely let you guys know kind of maybe when I hit a year of doing it, which will be next year. So maybe I can kind of do just come back to this topic and show you guys kind of how I'm doing with my investment journey. So, yeah, man. All right, let's see what else we could watch here. And if you guys ever have like any suggestions on videos I should watch, things I can check out, things that you guys wanna, wanna watch together, let's do it, man. I think I'm gonna actually let's watch this Spotify video real quick. So this video is done by Curtis King. He has a YouTube channel called Curtis King TV, and pretty much all of his content revolves around like the music business and the music industry. He's been doing like this long push for artists to just go independent and stop using like distribution services. So stop putting their music on Spotify, stop putting it on Apple Music and things like that, and just selling it direct to consumer. So he's been like an advocate for that, and that's something that I look into as well. And like even with my music, usually now what I do is I put it out on like Bandcamp first, because I do actually make more money from people actually just purchasing my music, right, than streaming it. And I know that streaming is easy for the consumer, but it just sucks for the artist, right? Because I'm getting a fraction of a penny per stream. Like a fraction of a penny. It's like 0.01% or something crazy per stream. When if I just sell you my CD or sell you my album for $5, and even if the other company takes a cut, say they take 10%, that's 50 cents, and now I just made $4.50. But to make $4.50 off of my album, you'd have to stream it like thousands and thousands and thousands of times. So anyway, we're gonna watch this video. It's called Spotify Exposed for Stealing Playlist Money from Indie Artists. So that's crazy because if you guys are into music or if you've done music, I know you know about Spotify playlists and how you can pay pretty much to get on the playlist. But I think this is pretty much saying that people are being scammed out of their money by Spotify. But let's see what it's all about.
Everything is designed. Everything that you read is designed. Anything that is a sign on the street is.
Did you know Spotify has a confidential program that steals millions of dollars away from real artists every single year?
Let's just call it what it is. They don't want to pay artists.
This is problematic. Stay with me.
Curtis, DIY.
DIYers, it's happening again. Spotify is playing literally in the faces of independent artists and musicians. And it's getting really, really tricky now because there's a book that's going to back up how sneaky some of these practices are. And it comes courtesy of an author that has been causing a lot of conversation in the industry the last few weeks, and Liz Pelly. Liz Pelly did some really great research to build this book called The Mood Machine:
I want to check that out.
The Rise of Spotify and the Cost of the Perfect Playlist. Within this,
He got Drake back here doing push-ups. Sorry, I just saw that. That was funny.
because she's been releasing
Sade.
excerpts over the last week, she makes an accusation that Spotify is utilizing a program, a secret program called the PFC program. Now, I want to let this video kind of summarize it, but what if I told you, independent artists, that those playlists that you've been pitching to, those playlists that you've been trying to get on, those editorial playlists that give you so many streams on a regular basis, what if I told you that you didn't make that playlist because it's currently being occupied by a fake artist that doesn't even exist? Excuse me. I'm gonna let this gentleman here from this Sync Money account talk about what this PFC program is all about.
Did you know Spotify
It's not all doom and gloom.
has
I know that I'd be watching like a lot of videos about like scams and all this other stuff, but this stuff interests me.
a confidential program that steals millions of dollars away from real artists every single year? It's called the PFC, or Perfect Fit Content Program, and they just got exposed. There was a guy who listened to jazz playlists on Spotify all day long, day in, day out, but he started to realize that there were these songs that had more plays than the Grammy award-winning jazz musicians that he's used to, like John Baptiste and Miles Davis. He was hearing the same track over and over again, and so he decided, hey, every time I hear this track, I'm gonna go make a playlist and add the song to the playlist. But here's where it gets weird. Turns out that Spotify was listing the same song with over 40 different random titles. Spotify told their employees to seed all these fake tracks in playlists of genres where people, quote, wouldn't know the difference, aka passive consumption. So Spotify said, hey, instead of us paying all this money to go license these famous jazz musicians and classical musicians, let's just make fake artists ourselves and keep all that money.
I don't know how they continue to get. Yes, I do. I know how they get away with it. They're a tech company. They're responsible for billions and billions of dollars, and they do business with folks that are greedy their damn selves. And if it can generate income, they can get away with anything. With that said, there's a lot to unpack here. This PFC program is really, really interesting because it backs up a video that we did a reaction to not even 7 months ago. And this comes courtesy of Rick Beato's YouTube channel, where he talks to Ted Geo, who's a well-known music historian. He's somebody who's made some bold predictions about the future of the music industry, and he's been right damn near every single time. With that said, do you recall when we reacted to a video where he's talking about an artist named Johann Rohr that supposedly allegedly had 600 different aliases of these ghost artists? Could
Yeah, I heard about
this
that.
be the first time we heard anything about this supposed PFC program? I'm going to refresh your memory real quick and let Ted Geo refresh your memory on what kind of a ghost artist we're talking about. This is problematic. Stay with me.
The story of Johann Rohr from Sweden. A very interesting individual, Johann Rohr, because he has achieved 15 billion streams on Spotify. Now, that's a large number. Let me tell you how large it is. That's more than Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that's
That is
crazy.
more than Elton John. It's more than ABBA. You know, it's nobody out there, with maybe 2 or 3 exceptions in the whole world,
I remember this video. It's crazy. What they did with this dude.
the kind of streams Johann Rohr is. Nobody knows his name. Now, why is that? Well, Johann Rohr never uses his own name in his music. He has 656 different aliases.
Let me get this straight.
That's crazy.
And we've done a reaction to this, but let me get this straight. With this new information,
Because I'm saying if I did that, so say I just put my same album out under 600 different names, Spotify would probably cancel my account.
have, because of Liz Pelly and her amazing research, which we're going to definitely give some more deep diving into. You mean to tell me that there are artists that are currently watching this video right now
Speed it up a little
that
bit.
have had their music removed from Spotify because they detected fictitious streams and botting that they accuse you of without giving you any kind of evidence. But meanwhile, they're playing with that very same system by inserting artists that don't even fucking exist? Are you kidding me? Yeah, well, this was speculated 7 months ago, and Ted Geo was like, I don't really have proof of it at the moment, but there were people who were emailing him. I wonder if one of them might have been Liz Pelly. Who the hell knows? I'm going to let him continue to break down how much more problematic this is. Then we got to get to some more claims and things that are being made by Liz Pelly because she did some amazing research on this.
Sometimes there's a man or a woman or different national groups or whatever. He never uses his own name. He uses 656 different names and then shows up on all these playlists. He is on 144 different official Spotify curated playlists.
This is important because once again, this is how the majority of streams are generated from. They're from being on playlists. This is why you have artists that even recently SZA was like, you know, the success of my last project, you know, you guys got to give me my respect because we didn't even pitch the music to playlists. When you see an artist say something like that, they're telling you how important this is to the success of the music, that they literally have a part of their campaign that is pitching to this playlist because of how many streams it can generate. But it's incredible because now you're looking and seeing that some of those names, specifically in playlists that are not necessarily like hip hop, rap, and R&B, not our genres.
Right.
No, they're experimenting with this at large with playlists that have a very passive type of audience. For instance, jazz.
Yeah, like jazz, because you can just, if it's just a jazz song, right? It's just like background music. If you're just playing jazz in the background, they can get away with it easier than like a, you know, a hip hop artist or a pop artist or even a country artist probably. But yeah, I don't know. That's crazy, bro. Crazy, man.
Classical, ambient music, sleep and meditation music, even some lo-fi hip hop beats. Just things where you don't necessarily need to know who is the person behind it, but it just fits the background, right? It's great background music. They've experimented with that. Why? Because Spotify, I think, benefits from having a very passive listener. That's not...
There's actually this is kind of a side note, but even on YouTube, they have these channels that just play like AI music. So I know like you guys probably you guys heard about or seen the lo-fi channel where it's just like that lo-fi girl and they just play lo-fi music all day. But there's like channels like that where all the music was made by AI and people just post them on YouTube and they have, you know, successful channels. I don't know if they're getting monetized, but I would imagine that some of them are getting through because some of them have, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of plays and, you know, 100,000 subscribers. And it's like, it's just some guy making AI music and posting it to YouTube. I want to watch a video about that. Not today, but that's, I did watch a video about it. It was crazy, man.
Especially when we want to move our listeners to eventually be ticket buyers for our shows, eventually be merchandise buyers of our t-shirts and gear and merchandise and things that we have. That's not good. But they're literally showing you the many ways that they're hypnotizing the listeners into just having a very passive experience. Ain't gonna be passive for too much longer. So before I get to this article that Liz Pelly was brought on as a guest writer, I want to get to this video here by Demiza because he breaks down some things. He's even reading something from this article that we're going to talk about here from the Harper's Magazine. And he explains a little bit more details about why this is so problematic for independent artists that are using Spotify.
Breaking news, Spotify does it again in their plight to pay artists less and pay themselves more. I mean, they just cashed in $1.1 billion in bonuses, or excuse me, stock options for their executives. They have an all-time high stock price, and now they have this, the PFC, the Perfect Fit Content Program. It was created to maximize profits by prioritizing cheap, royalty-friendly music on its most popular playlists. These tracks are often made by anonymous or fake artists and supplied by production companies under low-paying, one-time contracts where the musicians lose ownership of their music. They don't get paid. The songs, designed to blend in seamlessly into mood-based playlists like chill or lo-fi beats, they're often generic and stripped of genuine artistic value. The playlist editors are subtly and then later aggressively pushed to include the PFC tracks, gradually replacing real artist music without the listener noticing. This strategy exploits both musicians who earn far less than they deserve and listeners who are unaware of the manipulation. The PFC program highlights a troubling shift in the music industry where background music optimized for passive listening takes priority over authentic artistry. The increasing reliance on cheap generic tracks and the looming integration of AI-generated music threatens to further erode the connection between artists and audiences. Despite internal concerns from Spotify employees about the ethics of this program, Spotify continues to push the PFC program while keeping its operations largely hidden from the public scrutiny. Wonder why? This system not only undermines fair compensation for musicians, but also sets a dangerous precedent for the future of music streaming. Let's just call it what it is. They don't want to pay artists, and this is the best way. So, there you have it, folks. Thanks, Harpers.
So they're not interested. Spotify is not
crazy.
interested.
Spotify has a bunch of things that they do that's shady, and they're always just trying not to pay. You know, I think they did that new thing last year where if you don't have, like, if your song doesn't get at least 1,000 streams, then they're not going to pay you. That's insane that they could even do that. How can you say, like, oh, you guys earned, right? You earn money, even if it's less than 1,000 streams and it's only 50 cents or whatever the hell you earned, because it's still ridiculous. Because even after 1,000 streams, I think you probably get I think you get $1 or something. But yeah, like they put in place where you have to get at least 1,000 streams or they won't pay out your royalties. And that's just crazy, dog. Like they did that last year. They did something else too, but now they got this playlist thing going on. You know, Drake was over here complaining too, but I don't know if I don't know what's going to go on with that lawsuit. But yeah, Spotify is just janky, man. That's why I didn't really want to use them anymore, you know, but they pretty much got the game on lock, you know, especially when it comes to music. It's like, if your music isn't on Spotify, people look at you crazy. They're like, well, you know, you must not do it as a professional. But no, Spotify is just a shady ass company.
And paying you for your creativity. Matter of fact, they are more interested, and we talked about it a few weeks ago, they're more interested in a program where they're going to be paying content creators that use their platform in a very similar way with short form content as Instagram and TikTok. They're going to be paying them with some kind of a monetization program. It's insane because I look at that and I say, this could be more incentive for them to push that, because if they're populating with these fake playlists, they could then offer more income to these content creators for using their music in the pieces of content that they choose to share exclusively to Spotify, aka these ghost artists that populate these playlists. It is getting pretty tricky, and not longer isn't just an option to go direct to consumer. If you plan on monetizing and do what you want to do as what you love, you're gonna have to figure out some kind of a game plan to go direct to consumer from your website. That being said, the same author, Liz Pelly, that has been providing all this information through her research, where she went to go talk to former employees and editors and playlisters, she wrote an article here, which is pretty much, I think, an excerpt from the book that's dropping in January 2025. And I highlighted a few things here. I want to talk about it, then we'll get to some final thoughts.
Oh, word.
Let's take a look at this real estate
He has this
transaction
little commercial.
settlement. A shop prop buyer
That's
bought
tight.
this
His
home.
streams are dope.
What's good
live
with you
streams are dope.
DIYers, YouTube fam, and of course, independent artists alike? I got some really exciting news that I want to share with you. As many of you know, over the last 10 months, I have been doing some deep diving into going direct to consumer as an independent artist. And after reacting to so many different stories and having my own experiences, I've learned a lot over these last 10 months, and I would love to share it with you on my new Patreon for Curtis King TV. By joining the DIY community, you'll get early access to exclusive videos from this YouTube, free downloads, live Zoom calls, and even private Discord chats with me in the DIY community. Plus, independent artists, there are resources, tutorials, and so much more to help you level up your independent music career. So whether you're here for my content, for my music, or just to level up your own music career, I assure you this Patreon is for you. Head over to patreon.com/Curtis King TV, and let's continue to show
Ethical
them what's
reacts.
possible independently. It says, Spotify, the rumor had it, was filling its most popular playlist with stock music attributed to pseudonymous musicians, variously called ghost or fake artists, presumably in an effort to reduce its royalty payouts. Some even speculated that Spotify might be making the tracks itself at a time when playlists
Shit's
created by
wild.
the company were becoming crucial sources of revenue for independent artists and labels. That was a troubling allegation. So, It goes on to talk about the specific genres that we already mentioned already that were being tested with this PFC program, what it is. And I'll leave the article link for it, but I want to make sure that we highlight some things here that I thought were really interesting. One being the actual playlist editors that Liz talked to. One of those being an editor that said, editors were soon encouraged by higher-ups with increasing persistence to add these PFC songs, just think ghost artist songs, to certain playlists. Initially, they would give us links to stuff like, oh, it's no pressure for you to add it, but if you can, that'd be great. The former employee recalled. Then it became more aggressive, like, oh, this is the style of music in your playlist. If you try it and it works, then why not? So not every one of these editors and playlisters were game for this. They saw how unfair this was. They saw how sneaky this was on the part of Spotify because, you know, they've been trying to figure out how to flip a profit, and they finally did it this year. I think it's really interesting how it happened in the same year that they stopped paying out certain artists that don't reach a threshold for the streams. Now, it's not just 1,000 annual streams. That's why people get it wrong. It's also another metric called unique listeners. So based upon the type of listeners, you yourself can't just listen to a song 1,000 times.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know they had that stipulation too. Yeah, they be getting you, bro. So you can't listen to your song 1,000 times so you can get paid.
And monetize it for an artist. No, they get to determine that because they own the data, they own the metrics, and therefore they can disclose.
And they don't share it. They just, that's one of the biggest problems with like Spotify, right? It's like, all right, Spotify is telling you how many times that it was streamed, but they're not showing you the proof, right? And they don't have to. So they could say that, oh, you know what? We can't pay you out because you only got 900 streams. And then you say, well, show me the proof that I only got 900 streams. And they don't have to do that. So whatever they say goes, basically. It's crazy.
Want to disclose with you. So it's tricky, and it's only going to get even more trickier. This is the last paragraph in this article. Liz Pelly goes on to say, Spotify, for its part, has been open about its willingness to allow AI music. Damn it, we're not even talking about AI yet. We're just talking about a hired musician who says, here, I'll make whatever style of music you want me to make, and I'll give you guys the rights. Who knows what that exchange is, if it's them getting paid flat out for some music they made, almost like a sync opportunity. And then they take that music, come up with all these different names and, anonymous names. And it's funny because in that same Ted Geo interview, he says he did research on one of the artists that he connected to a Johan Rohr, and they had 4 million streams on Spotify. Guess how many they had on YouTube? 200, 300. Because these are being artificially driven to create more income for them. Now, why would Spotify benefit from that? Well, if you know how the setup is currently, they owe 3 major labels a lot of their income. 70 cents of every dollar, let's say, is going to Sony Music, Warner Brothers Music, and Universal Music Group. Why are they giving that much? Because that's the cost for licensing. Yeah. All the music that those labels, all the artists that are attached to those labels, Spotify can't just go to the artist; they have to go to the label.
Yep, they did a contract with them when when all the streaming stuff started. The labels did a contract with Spotify and the streaming services so they could license their music. So that's how labels are making money.
And they say to license this music for our platform and to retain our subscribers, we must pay this licensing fee. Well, even with that going down, they have not been able to flip a profit until this year. Some of that is attributed to them pivoting into podcasting and trying different things there, like the Joe Rogan deal that they had. Some of that is attributed to them changing how they pay out, even the low wages they pay out already with the threshold system. Now enter into the chat AI.
I'm getting back on track with
it's not cool, man.
Never frozen meals are ready in minutes.
Factor is over 4
AI. It says during a 2023 conference call, Daniel Ek noted that the boom in AI-generated content could be great culturally, but what that boy know about culture, and allow Spotify to grow engagement and revenue. It's an unsurprising position for a company that has long prided itself on its machine learning systems, which powers many of its recommendations and has framed its product evolution as a story of AI transformation. I didn't even think about that till right now. Though.
All right, y'all. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. If you want to watch the rest of the video, it's Curtis King, Spotify exposed for stealing playlist money. I mean, at this point, it's nothing new. You know what I mean? Like, they're always doing something shady. But yeah, if y'all want to check out the full video, you can do that on your own time. And, you know, speaking of AI, he was starting to talk about AI and things like that. And I want to watch this video about Luigi. the guy who allegedly allegedly murdered the United Healthcare CEO. I don't know a whole lot about the situation, but I know a lot of people are looking to him as like a martyr, I guess, or they're basically praising him for what he's done, allegedly. So yeah, this is a rally, like a Free Luigi rally, and this video was done by Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan. So we're gonna check it out, and but I know I lost my train of thought there, but basically I was thinking about United Healthcare. One of the big problems is, I guess, during COVID, they were using AI to approve claims, right? So they're using AI to like approve or deny claims, and there was something wrong with the system, and it was just automatically denying like 90% of the claims, something crazy. I think they'll probably talk about it in this video, but anyway, that's what I was thinking about when Curtis was talking about AI. So yeah, it's a crazy situation, but this is a good video, and this will kind of give us some insight. Let's check it out.
Health over wealth! You tell us about your sign?
Yes. Government recognized terrorism, MLK, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Luigi Mangione. And this just speaks to the fact that historically, many human rights leaders who have stood up against mistreatment, against apartheid, have also been labeled as terrorists to sow doubt and fear.
Obviously what Luigi did was an act of violence. Not going to touch on that as much, but he
is lifted us out of the dust in the trivialness of politics and legislation.
And I believe that this is being done to send a message.
Healthcare should not be for profit. Yeah. That is the bare minimum. If you put profit anywhere near protecting human life, people will prioritize profit. You cannot have a for-profit system that prioritizes human life and profit. It is impossible.
I've had somebody on the floor fainting, on the verge of dying, who was literally saying, begging, please don't call an ambulance because my family cannot afford it. Do you know what it is to have somebody in so much pain and only thinking my family cannot afford it? I'd like to ask the public in general, why is there a correlation with profit and denying people the right to healthcare in their most vulnerable moments?
As you may be aware, there are some current health insurance policies out, such as limiting the number of hours of anesthesia that will be covered by health insurance for patients. And
I heard about that. That's crazy. Like, all right, like you're having surgery, and they're like, been 2 hours, cut them. No more anesthesia for you.
Another health insurance company changed their policy on benefits for children with autism. Yeah. At the end of the day, our message is not to comment on any healthcare policy alternatives, but to state insurance companies, business people, and people looking to make a profit should not be the ones in charge of which healthcare treatments or procedures people can receive.
Yeah. Health over wealth!
What's up, guys? 2:28 p.m., December 21st, 2024. I'm here at Washington Square Park in New York City. There appears to be a few things going on right now. There's a rap battle cipher happening. There's some kind of TikTok dance challenge.
This dude always finds the rappers, bro.
A free the hostage.
White rappers. It's always a white rapper. Not always, but most of the time. Have you guys ever watched Channel 5 videos? They're pretty dope.
Test. And I'm at the Free Luigi rally. You guys probably know who Luigi is. He's being held at MDC in Brooklyn right now.
Nigga in there for a body, but he doing the right thing. I said Luigi been the dawn since he put his Pampers on.
There we go, man. White rapper. What's the first word out of his mouth? Nigga. Man, I've been watching these videos like all night about like Fat Joe and the FBA. I don't know if you guys know about all that, but like, there's like a bunch of people bringing up the whole fact that Fat Joe says the N-word all the time. And, he's not backing down on anything as far as like what he said about the FBA or the foundational Black Americans. I guess it was just like some argument they had over some. So I mean, we watched a little bit about it actually in one of the past streams, but basically it was an argument they were having over the beginning of hip hop, and now it's like this whole big thing where like Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans want to take some credit or maybe even all the credit for starting hip hop, and African Americans are like, nah, y'all didn't start hip hop. You were a part of it, sure. You were a part of it evolving and getting to where it's at, but you didn't start it. And then, another element to the whole thing is like Fat Joe being Puerto Rican, but always saying nigga and then benefiting from black culture, right? But he's not black. So there's just there's a lot wrong with that whole situation. And anyway, it just made me think about maybe this video made me think about it because some people are making excuses for Fat Joe, and they're like, well, Fat Joe grew up in I don't know if I think he's from the Bronx or something, or maybe Brooklyn, but I grew up around black people, and people are like, well, that doesn't give you the right to say the N-word, you know what I mean? Like, just because you're poor doesn't mean you can say the N-word. But then you got people like, well, in New York, that's just how it is, like everyone says the N-word, things like that. And you got this white dude right here. It's just crazy. But I mean, I knew people like that in the Bay Area, you know what I mean? Out here in Phoenix, I haven't met that person, but I guarantee they're out here for sure, somewhere on the South Side. This guy though, oh man, I don't know. That was just funny, man.
Balls ran out the mouth like a marathon. Spazzing out, he hopped in the whip, then he carried on with the shooters, got more ace in every on. Free Luigi, gang. Free Luigi. I'll trade players. I've been in jail for 5 years. He don't know what it's like yet.
He is suspected of assassinating the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson is dead after being shot in Midtown Manhattan. The shooting happened near the Midtown Hilton. Thompson was not staying in the hotel, but we've learned he was in New York for an investors conference.
According to a manifesto that was leaked by investigative journalist Ken Klippenstein, who we interview later in this video, Luigi has a major problem with the health insurance industry, and possibly health insurance claim denials, which essentially means insurance companies refusing to cover the cost of medical treatment for insured patients, aka paying customers. For you pampered Europeans out there who don't know what freedom tastes like, let me explain something to you. In the United States, on top of sales and personal income tax, we also pay, on average, $550 a month to private companies for something called health insurance, who in return give us a cool card that we take to the doctor when something goes wrong. At the hospital or at the front desk of an urgent care clinic, the doctor or receptionist, before telling you what's wrong or what the options are for treatment, will first ask you if you have the card or not. If you don't have the card, just getting into the door and being seen by a doctor is between 2 to 10 times more expensive. Then after you're in there, the tomfoolery continues. After a doctor diagnoses you and makes a recommendation as to what they believe is the correct course of action, whether it be surgery, therapy, medication, or what have you, they have to file a claim with your insurance provider and ask them, the ones you're paying, if it's in budget for their company. This is called filing a health insurance claim. In some cases, companies will deny the claims, which forces doctors and physicians to present their patients with a depressing ultimatum. Either pay exorbitant uninsured rates for care, or if you can't afford it, get the hell out of here, you sick bastard, and come back with some money. And if you can't find some money, you could submit an appeal.
I used to deal with that a lot because, I'm still a pharmacy technician. I still have my license, but that's the field I was working in before I quit. But yeah, we would deal with, I was working for the pharmacy, and we would deal with claim denials and things like that. So it's just crazy to know that you're paying, whatever you're paying for your insurance, but there's still a possibility that your claim will get denied.
In that lengthy process, which on average takes over 180 days, a window in which 47% of respondents said their health condition got worse. United Healthcare, of which Brian Thompson was the CEO, has the highest claim denial rate of any other major health insurance company. Part of this has to do with the fact that during COVID, the company began using AI to assess and deny claims.
Data is at the core of our agenda to improve healthcare. which directly influences how we develop innovative consumer solutions.
According to a class action lawsuit filed in
crazy. They
Minnesota by
murdered
the
that
estates
cat.
of 2 deceased patients, the AI tool they deployed, called NaviHealth, now defunct, had a known 90% error rate, but the company refused to fix the problem, leading to a series of protests and more litigation from across the country, way before Luigi entered the picture.
Complicating the crime, Thompson was under investigation for insider trading. The City of Hollywood's Firefighters Pension Fund is part of a class action lawsuit against Thompson and United Healthcare.
These parasites had it coming, Luigi allegedly writes, framing Brian Thompson as a predatory businessman and himself as an arbiter of karmic retribution. Thompson leaves behind a soon-to-be ex-wife and 2 teenage sons, which is sad. People dying sucks. However, 41% of young voters polled by Emerson College in Boston say the assassination was quote-unquote acceptable. In the past few weeks on social media have seen a rabid frenzy of cult-like Luigi worship, exalting him as a righteous reaper who took matters into his own hands. Something of a communist Kyle Rittenhouse, fulfilling a deep, almost primal void that so many have had for an Italian-American anti-hero since Tony Soprano left us in 2007.
His commissary good. He got bitches visiting him. All that.
Despite having pled not guilty, market data suggests that Luigi hats are flying off the shelves at record rates. And with no progressive policy change in the cards for the next 4 years, scores of young progressives have been given hope.
This is a person that he saw was the head of a company that was guiding a company that implemented an AI system to deny claims to vulnerable people, elderly people.
What do you guys think? Do you think that he deserved it? The CEO deserved it? Like, I don't feel like, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't see how that's going to change, you know what I mean? Change the company or the policy, but I don't know. Maybe.
That had a denial rate of over almost 90%. That was continuing, to just profit off of widespread suffering.
If you were to ask how many people who are insured get denied their health care claims, there's no math on that because they will never release those numbers. They don't have to, and it would incriminate them. If you were to ask how many were uninsured and die every year, it's approximately 48,000, which is 4,000 people a month, 130 a day, 5 an hour, and 1 person every minute and a half is dying in this country because they're being held hostage by the health insurers. Every person that dies does not just die. They are killed by the health insurance system. They are assassinated. They are executed by the capitalist system for...
See, that's his take. So I'm sure that he feels it was the murder was justified.
Wow. And so to pretend that one man in charge of that system being executed is somehow more important than every single person every minute and a half who is being executed it's abominable.
Imagine carefully planning the execution of someone you don't even know, haven't met, someone who hasn't done a thing to you, and now he's a hero to some on the left.
The media pretends that because you shoot somebody, it's somehow more unacceptable than to sign a paper denying somebody coverage and signing their death warrant. But it's murder just the same.
As sad as death is, I mean, this country has been built on blood and death. And
the president.
I mean, that's true. But I was actually watching like a kind of a debate. People were having a debate about this issue, and one of the debaters, he just brought up the point that, like, all right, well, if you go and kill like the CEO of the gun manufacturer who makes, like AR-15s, just throwing that out there. But let's say you go kill that CEO, is that going to stop the production of the guns? So that was kind of like his point and why he felt it wasn't justified. But I just thought it was interesting. It's always good to hear like multiple takes, different takes, and
the vice president,
you can make up your mind. But after you hear the takes,
are posing and smiling with a known murderer, Daniel Penny, who we know murdered a man. Whether the legality lets him go to prison or go free is a completely different thing. So I would say to the president, if he would
I don't know about that.
Stop eating McDonald's and get out of the golf resort, he could maybe ask the billionaire who's dog walking him if he could start working for healthcare for the people that elected him.
Because health is one of the most important things to being human. It's one of the things that continue to make us humane, that allow us to do all of the things that society continues to build on, all the things that make you happy, activities, whatsoever. If you are not in good health, then that basically closes the door to every other thing that you would like to do in life. And every other major first world nation, and all of the others, have universal health care.
I came down here because personally I'm going through the whole healthcare thing. I got the same back surgery as Luigi, probably, what was
was it December 24th?
And can you explain exactly what that surgery is?
It is a surgery on your lumbar. It would be, I believe that would be the L4 and 5 that I got the surgery on.
Lumbar is like the lower part of your back?
Yeah, the lumbar down at the bottom here. And also I got one in my neck.
According to Reddit posts made by Luigi, he underwent a pretty difficult spinal surgery last year for chronic back pain, specifically in the lower lumbar region, where he had a misalignment that caused him extreme pain, unable to look up, arch his back, surf, rock climb, or be intimate. The surgery, called a discectomy, typically costs between $15,000 and $50,000 without insurance. And even those who can't afford it often find themselves waiting months and even years for care.
So when I got my surgery, it was a year and a half of trying to get the ability to get the surgery, and the whole time I had nerve damage. Now I have permanent nerve damage, and they're saying that a lot of it was because I had to sit around for so long. So what they gave me was like a medication. I was on pain like opiates. Now the insurance companies are saying that it's not a long-term thing. I can't sleep. I can't do anything without like medication. I'm at the point where I can't even afford to keep going with insurance. I haven't worked for 2 years since this incident. And like, I guess the reason why I'm down here is because I keep hearing, you know, about everybody suffering from the healthcare system. And like myself, I'm about to be homeless. Like I lost everything. I was making about $114K a year. And now I'm down to nothing. When I went to the disability office and everything, I did that over a year and a half ago, and I'm still pending in the courts. I haven't had a first court date. So the whole system is designed to just take you out. Like,
not saying that he didn't do this or that you guys aren't doing this, but that's why I think investing is important. And even if you're not investing, at least saving money, you know, at least open a savings account with a high interest rate, like a high yield. I think that's what it's called, like a high yield savings account, something like that. Just had a brain fart, but basically, yeah. Get a savings account, put $20 in there every month, you know, something, you know what I mean? Like, just put something in there every month, you know, and you at least get more interest than you would get just having it in your checking account or just in a regular savings account. So you can at least gain some interest. And when an emergency happens, you have some kind of money sitting around to help you out in that emergency, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just, this situation that he was going through sucks, you know what I mean? And like I said, not saying that he didn't have savings, but he's already blown through all of his savings, it sounds like.
in the next 2-3 months, I'm going to have to find a way to move. I don't have any family. So I'm going to go hang out with some friends and try to do that while I'm suing a company for what happened. But in the meanwhile, there's no help or health care. And now I'm looking down that I won't have any medication, which means I can't go on walks, I can't sleep, I can't sit, I can't do anything comfortably, I can't even cook. So I just wanted to let you know what's going on with me.
What's the medication you're taking?
Oxycodone. 10 by 325. I used to be on 5 a day, so 50 milligrams.
Recognizing that his opiate tolerance was getting far too high, Nicholas asked his doctor to be prescribed pregabalin, an epilepsy medication that also helps with nerve pain.
But the problem with that is once you start taking it for like a month or two, once you stop taking it, the rate for like seizures as a side effect is really high, I'm being told. So no doctors even want to give that to me because I live by myself. You know, I live in Midtown. And I am about to have no help whatsoever. I'm down to my last 6 days of medication, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to take my email down, we can try to help you. I don't know if you need help moving or, you know, we have extra money and shit if you need help. I mean, it sounds like I got you, man. Yeah, well, I want to help you, man. It sounds horrible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
After this interview, I decided to launch a GoFundMe to help Zam move, pay rent, and afford medication, which I kicked off with a $1,000 donation. I hope that collectively we can all pitch in a few bucks and help him to at least get some relief in this objectively horrible situation. He struck me as a great guy, and I'm very blessed to have the platform to help people who need it. I've put the link in the pinned comment in the description of this video. All right, let's go back to the controversial manifesto that was leaked.
Also in his backpack, according to police, a 3-page handwritten manifesto confessing to the murder of United Healthcare's CEO Brian Thompson and ranting about other health insurance bosses.
Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming.
And so whenever you read that manifesto and you noticed that parallel, did you resonate with the frustration that Luigi felt?
I'll be honest, yeah. I don't know if the manifesto is real or not. Like he said, you can't trust anything the NYPD says. Yeah. But in regards to what it said, like not being able to sleep, rolling over, there were days, I had someone who used to come and help me where if I didn't have medication, like if it was on back order before my surgery, I would be throwing up from the pain. I couldn't, crawling to the bathroom. It was fucking terrible. And sorry, and also if...
Not the real news, you can curse all you want. As illustrated by this conversation, there's been many disputes regarding the authenticity of the alleged Luigi manifesto. However, the journalist who leaked it is quite reputable, so I believe it to be real. And I had many questions for him. Here's what Ken had to say.
I'm Ken Klippenstein. I'm an investigative reporter.
You made the choice to leak Mangione's manifesto to the public. I want to know why you made that choice.
Well, I just thought it was media paternalism at its worst to withhold this on, I think, the dubious grounds that releasing this out to the public is going to be like some kind of code word, like in the Manchurian Candidate, where it's just going to activate something in everyone's brain and cause them to take out acts of violence against other CEOs. I mean, all this sounds very familiar to me. It reminds me of the argument that violent video games is causing shootings. I think it's just scapegoating something else because people don't want to deal with the underlying issue of why would the health insurance industry produce grievances of the sort that would cause people to find memes about this person dying funny. That's the question that people should be looking at. And to me, that is a kind of active ingredient in all of this that's driving the response that some people find distasteful. But instead of looking at that, they're just kind of wagging their finger and saying, oh, if we just take it down from everywhere. I mean, I had, internal chats from the New York Times staff leaked to me showing that they were instructed from on high above, like senior management, telling them we need to, quote, dial down the use of Mangione's photo, his headshot in pictures. The idea being we don't want to play into the glorification of him. And the idea that a picture of somebody is going to intrinsically just, again, cause everyone, like, it shows you how much contempt they have for the public, that they think people are zombies that are just going to see something and just act it out. And there's no critical thought that happens.
Is that their version of populism, killing CEOs?
And look, to the extent that they're justifying this, what they're doing even worse is they're constantly encouraging copycats.
So you're saying that the CEOs and the government are scared of like a V for Vendetta final scene in Joker contagious wave of assassinations happening?
In fact, they use that word contagion. If you look at what the head of NYPD intelligence, which is a very big office, NYPD is, on the footing of a national agency, multi-billion-dollar budget. And she gave a public speech to the Atlantic Council, a think tank, in which she described this explicitly in, counterterror terms, including the speech being expressed in support of Mangione. And so it's not just about him as an individual. They are treating this, like you said, in using the word contagion. There's this whole, law enforcement theory that it's almost like the Cold War. Or Vietnam, the idea that it's going to jump from communism will jump from one country to another and then it'll spread to another. I haven't seen any evidence for that. To date, there's no example of somebody shooting someone else in response to this. There is an example of a lot of people posting mean tweets and things, but to say that that is comparable to murdering somebody, there's just no comparison, and so there's no evidence for it. I mean, I guess what they would say is, well, wait and see.
Well, if someone wants to do it, they can do it.
There's a lot of people in the intelligence community that don't know how to read the internet, and don't understand irony, and don't understand sarcasm, and don't understand ship posting, and so they take it at face value and say, wow, there's this army of V for Vendetta masks that are just going to come out in force with pitchforks and come after us, and that really seems to be what the manner in which they're responding. It's a sort of moral panic I think we're seeing right now, and my hope is that people will look at more and more of the evidence come out, not just in the form of the manifesto, but the trial that's going to happen, and say, hey, there's much more to this story than that some guy snapped and just went crazy or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's a big conversation to be had too around the idea of violence. I think that, of course, we know shooting someone in the head or in the body, wherever he was shot, that's violence. That's, you're shooting someone. People think of fist fighting and those kind of actions, assassinations, that's violence. But they don't use that term when they think about policies that lead to people dying and healthcare and medicine prices that result in people dying, or people's claiming that effectively is a form of violence. You might not be being strangled to death, but you would have otherwise lived if it wasn't for their policies.
That gin bottle dope as fuck, dog. That's it, huh?
Boss. Gin?
I took care of that thing.
What is it, like Snoop Dogg has a new gin? You guys listen to that Missionary album? I don't know. I don't think I was liking it too much, but I mean, I get it. They're superstars, they're pop stars, but like, I didn't really like the
thing.
Some of the production was just too, I don't know, poppy, I guess.
What's he talking about?
Yeah, and when you look at the urgency of the discussion around this, let's be frank, one person who died, again, there has been no other attempt to kill anybody anywhere else, no evidence of a copycat attack. It's hard to look at that and say there's any other reason for that than that he was a really rich, powerful person, and he's still benefiting from that status even in death. While literally tens of thousands of people die from having to ration insulin, for just one example, something that costs pennies on the dollar to manufacture. It's a disgrace. What do you even say to that? And the fact that the people in sort of the corporate media can't understand why somebody would be driven to rage over that, whether or not you support what he did, not understand that mindset. It's like, wow, they're really out of touch. They don't get it.
Yeah, they never will get it, but it's okay.
If you'd like to see our full, uncut interview with Ken, where we break down the manifesto sentence by sentence and discuss everything under the sun, go to our Patreon, www.patreon.com/channel5. As many of you know, we are totally independent and mostly crowdfunded. So if you'd like to support us and see...
All right. So yeah, that's pretty much, I think the rest of that is pretty much just him talking about his Patreon and some other things that he has going on. But yeah, Channel 5, it's a dope channel. It used to be, I guess believe it was called No All Gas, No Brakes or something like that. So I think that's what he started with. It's just like journalism where they just go around on the streets and, they just interview people, random people. So I really like the coverage that they get though, because they do talk to pretty much everybody. So they'll talk to people on both sides of the issue, even though they didn't really do that in this video, but in most videos that happens. But yeah, man, it's New Year's Eve. So hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'm about to get to it, man. Got some things to do around the house today. Just getting ready for next year. So, again, I want to thank you guys for joining the stream. Make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And young player like me about to be up out of here. So I'm going to catch y'all next time. Yeah, be easy. Yay! Peace.